So let's make this simple. I say name, you say Scott Calvin. Name.
Kris Kringle.
Name.
Sinterklaas.
Name.
Père Noël. Babo Natale. Père Nicole.
Papa Gijo.
Okay, Calvin. Maybe a couple hours in the
GeekVerse.
go change your mind.
Oh my goodness, I love that intro very much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to GeekVerse episode 641. We got a jam-packed newscast for you today. I am, the Pandora Taylor Field, and I'm joined by...
I am the Dragon Wrangler, Kirkland Patzer.
I'm the Splatter Matters Dylan Moss.
Yes, and so... Before we get into our juicy topics of news this evening, we're going to shout out our Patreon producers, Aaron Braden, April Darkness, Jack Grant, Muds, Sam, Superbad Mike, God Loves Me 69, Jeremy Renner, D-Tall. You guys are fantastic. You want to support us on Patreon? Goats, Dalton Talar.
D-Tall.
You got to check out the Patreon because you get ad-free, early, exclusive content there. It's great. It's wonderful. Lots of stuff. So yeah, shout outs to all of you fine folks. If you want other updates and content, you can check us out on our website, GeekVerse.ca, social feeds, X, YouTube, everywhere, Facebook. We're all over the web, so definitely go and check it out. We got lots of stuff coming this month. We got Sonic. We got other movie reviews that'll be dropping. Lord of the Rings. Thank you. Kraven. Yes. What else do we got cooking?
Question for you guys right off the bat. Secret Level. Are you guys interested in that show? Are you watching that? Are we reviewing that? What's the status?
Secret Level.
Secret Level.
I feel like this is a secret.
There's a Splunky episode, so I'm at least going to talk about that. But I don't know what The Room is. I know you guys have a lot of shows this month that you're already jam-packed with.
Commandos,
What is this out on?
Skeleton
What
Crew.
streaming service?
I believe it's Amazon, right?
The Amazon. Oh, yeah. I'm interested. I feel like I did not know what this was at all until this very moment. But I've been on a hot streak with Amazon shows lately, so I'm interested to say the least. And Shay and I just finished all of the shows we kind of been watching, so could be a good opportunity. When's this out? Early December, right?
I think December 9th?
December 10th, it says. So
damn it! I was so
you're
close.
Wrong, but nice try. I'm interested. It looks cool.
Okay.
I don't know if I will have the time, but there you go. It sounds like you got a buddy for it. So
We do have a busy December, so
all I
think
need is a
shouldn't, over promise right now.
yeah, and this is kind of like a crazy first newscast since we had to let Travis go. You know, creative differences.
Yeah.
And
There were so many lawsuits, and it's since he's been gone, there's been no lawsuits, no lawyers involved. I mean, it's only been a few days, but the record's looking pretty clean right now, I gotta say. No one's been challenged to fight each other in a wrestling match.
That's right.
It's like peace at last in the kingdom.
But yeah, we got a good show tonight for you fine folks. But we're gonna start with good old fashioned what you've been watching. So, who wants to take it away first? What's been on the plate lately?
Well, for me, I just recently finished Arcane Season 2.
Ooh.
I also watched Arcane Season 1 for the first time. I thought I was like mostly done the first season, but I had only really seen like the first 2 episodes. So it was a nice time to start because I think we jumped in like right when Act 3 of Season 2 was coming out. So like when Season 2 was just wrapping up and we were able to just binge, especially like I've been sick. So it's been like if Shay's home, we're just like powering through shows. So yeah, that. Has anyone else seen that show here?
Season 1, yes.
Season 1, okay.
Season 2,
Field, no.
me and Muds want to watch it, but I haven't got around to it yet. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
It's fantastic. It's probably like the nicest looking animated property I've ever seen in my life. Like honestly, I think it's better than Spider-Verse, which is crazy to think. Like there's some really interesting things they do with like Spider-Punk and Spider-Verse 2, but just across the board, like it's just such an incredibly beautiful show. Like they do many different like animated styles, whether it's like a flashback or like a quick cool fight scene. I don't know if you remember Dylan, like there's a couple in season 1 that they do, but they kind of carry it over in season 2, and just really interesting stuff that they're doing with the characters. I feel like I'm not like, I don't think it's a perfect show like story wise. Like I do have some minor issues with some things in season 2, but talking to like some of my other friends, it seems like it's mostly just kind of me in that camp. Like they're completely, and like we talk about it and it's just like, okay, yeah, no, I just don't really agree with that decision, or like don't really love a certain like character decision. I think it's just, especially because I've like played League, like I have certain like, I don't know, preconception ideas of what lore wise would be happening with characters, and they do change quite a few things with certain characters in it, and I was just kind of, I don't know, caught, and maybe certain characters were like flipping back and forth that I wasn't loving, but no, like it's super fantastic. I will say I think Vox Machina is still the better show. Definitely Arcane looks better, but Vox Machina, the newest season, that's the other show that I just Shay and I just powered through, and man, that show is just so fucking good. Everyone should go watch that show. Even if you're not like a big animated fan, like it is just so, and not even like a D&D fan, like I think it's just so entertaining, and they do such a good job at like spending time with each member of the group. They really just get their own like character arcs multiple times throughout the story, and there's sex betrayal in that show. Like there's just so much good juice in there, and so yeah.
Sorry, there's sex betrayal, or there's sex, betrayal?
There's probably sex betrayal in it. I
Okay.
don't want to spoil too much, but sex / betrayal was my
Gotcha. You said it so quickly,
initial
so I
idea
wasn't
of
sure.
what it- sorry, rapid of the tongue. But no, it's so fantastic. So it's been a nice like couple shows Shay and I have just recently gone through of just like, I don't know, like Arcane's probably a 10 out of 10 still, even though I might have some like minor things, because it's just, it looks so beautiful. Some just fantastic original music in it, and lots of like fun Easter eggs for anyone that's played League. And then yeah, Vox Machina is just, it is so fantastic. I just can't get enough of that show, and they've been renewed for another season. Arcane, like they're making more shows, but I believe this is like the end of kind of this story.
Right, I saw that
So
too.
they're
Yeah.
gonna be, and like there's what they've been doing with the lore and expanding the universe of like what started with League is really, really interesting to me, and they're just really fleshing it out, and there's so much juice to pull from. Like in this show there's only like a handful of the characters from the game, but like they're hinting at things going forward, so it's an exciting time to be interested in that universe, and highly recommend. Like it's just such a beautiful show, and yeah, no, definitely recommend both those.
Yeah, considering that you kind of, as you said, hadn't really watched all of season 1 until recently, kind of doing the back-to-back might be hard to like separate them for in your mind.
Yeah.
But how does season 2 compare to season 1, just in terms of that
so
really high bar set?
I'm in the minority where I like season 1 more, and I think it's just
Okay.
because of like in season 1 you like get them as younger individuals, and then you got to go through some of that just growth of the characters, and I feel like I was a lot more interested in that. And then season 2, like they're just, you know, adults more.
Yeah, season 1 ends in a really great spot, just like
Yeah.
sets up a ton of really interesting stuff.
Yeah, so like personally I liked it more because of like the story stuff that we got, and just some of the scenes were just super fantastic. But there's still like some really just fantastic moments in season 2. It's just the big like thread of what's going on I wasn't the biggest fan of. So of course it brings down a little bit, but yeah, no, season 1 was so juicy. So yeah, no, it was good stuff.
Very
But everyone
nice.
else I've talked to says season 2 is better. So like I said, I'm kind of in the minority there. I'm curious how you're going to feel about it.
Yeah, I plan to get to it soon. We'll see. Me and Muds just haven't had a lot of time to watch stuff lately, it feels like. And if we do, we just like have been putting on Shrinking season 2 right now. The episodes are, I think there's a couple more episodes to come out, so we're kind of midway through season 2. That's really the only thing I've been watching for the most part, other than, you know, we did Gladiator review last week. Shoutouts to that. And then just watching Survivor every week, which this is a very fun season. It's just a very interesting, like, strategic season. Last season was very chaotic and messy, and everyone was really bad and like strategically, not, you know, as human beings on the show. But this season's been really fun. But yeah, Shrinking season 2, you know, I don't want to call it until it's done, but I've been like pretty disappointed with season 2. And season 1 kind of came out of nowhere, and me and Muz kind of binged through that pretty quick. Really enjoyed it. And I don't know, I just feel like maybe they have a bunch of different writers on this season, but it feels a bit too silly, and like they are really just going overboard and making characters really shitty so that they can have some redemption arc, but it doesn't really feel earned, and like kind of makes everyone hateable. So I'm just like not into it as much, unfortunately. But who knows, maybe it'll end season 2 in a good way. I don't know if they're planning on doing more, but I don't even think I'm that excited if they do it as the third season after this. It's kind of like Ted Lasso, you know, it's like it flamed out really quick. You know, like I should have just stopped after season 1 or 2. So I might do the same thing here. But yeah, that's kind of it. I haven't watched a movie other than Gladiator in like a couple weeks here. I don't think so. Nothing too crazy to shout out here.
Oh, goodness me. What have I been indulging in? After Gladiator, I did The Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey one. That one is that's fantastic. We had some friends come over, and it was, we set it up, the Christmas tree that day and everything like that. So definitely started to feel pretty cozy. And so, getting The Grinch on, it's such a great movie. I love Jim Carrey in that role. It's so freaking funny. And it's amazing how adult oriented that movie really is. Like, the little things like the swingers party that the Who's are having when the Grinch is like arriving as a baby, and all these other crazy things that I can't believe they actually put in this movie, but it just makes me laugh. For my birthday, went to Bernie's and saw Back to the Future in the big screen. That was awesome.
Not the Big Short this time around.
Not the Big Short. No. I got to pick the movie this go around, so that was good. And then Our Little Secret with Lindsay Lohan. That was one of those Hallmark ones. Oh, it's the new one that just came out. Yeah. So I thought it was good. I thought it was better than Irish Wish, which she did, which I did not like that one. But there's a few there's a few Hallmark ones that actually have dropped on Netflix that I would like to see.
I saw that Hot Frosty one on there.
Was that good?
It was Travis that was talking about it. I was gonna put it on, and then I'm like, I don't know. This isn't the Christmas movie I want to watch right now.
I think that's in the same, because it's in the same universe as Mean Girls, right? Because doesn't she?
Is it actually?
She breaks the wall because there's they're playing a trailer. Irish Wish, I think, is playing on the screen.
It's not in
and
the
girls
universe,
watching
okay?
it, but the
like
girl's like, you know what I'm talking
about?
I know what you're talking about, but like her name is different. Like it's not the same character. They're just doing.
Is her name different? Okay, there you go.
It's not Gretchen.
Her name's not Gretchen Wieners. In the movie, as far as I know.
I was interested in like seeing Ted though from Schitt's Creek. I can't remember
Absolutely.
what his actual actor's name is, but I really like him in Schitt's Creek. So I don't know. I feel like I will throw it on.
I'll probably check it out at some point. Yeah.
There's that one, and then I also want to check out the one where all the guys have to like do the dancing to save the bar or whatever. I don't know why. It's just I'm kind of curious about that one.
Footloose. I don't know what you're talking about.
Chippendales. I don't know.
Chippendales, yeah. But aside from that, no, we'll have a busy weekend because we got Moana 2 and then probably Wicked. Probably going around and see that this weekend as well.
You're gonna see both of those?
I think so. Yeah. Everyone's talking about it, so I want to cross it off my list.
Some people are talking about it.
Some people, yeah.
Some people are talking about it a lot, and other people not so much.
Not to name names.
That's fun.
But that's it. That's it for what I'm up to.
Taylor, random question for you. Like, Golden Geeks, it's not close by any means. We still got a couple months because we do that in January, February, late January situation. Do you have a watch list, things you're looking to knock off the 2024 list, or is it just like new things that have yet to come out yet? Or do you have like a backlog of 2024 things that you're trying to plan out before we do that?
It's funny because I should do a list for the year of movies that I want to watch, but usually I do a list for the year of movies that I've seen that were released that year. So for example, like my 2024 list, these are all the movies I've seen for 2024.
So are those just the movies you've seen, or is that a list you made on Letterboxd?
That's a list I've seen for 2024 released movies.
Yeah, gotcha.
I have a bucket list. These are all movies that I've added that I want to watch. And that's
from this year or any time?
Anytime. There's
a
lot of them on here. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it sounds like no is the answer. You
Yeah,
don't
there
make
you go.
you don't like a backlog of movies this year.
No.
I was just how about you, Kirkland? Do you do that too? Because I just feel like I try and, especially in these last couple months, I feel the burn of like I want to try and make sure I'm watching everything that's going to be relevant for these categories.
There's like a handful of like juicy picks, like Maxine. I still haven't seen.
Right.
I've seen
see
like movies like that. I feel like there's just every year it comes to this point, and I realize there's a lot of juicy picks I haven't seen. So I do want to throw those on because like I feel like the big ones, of course, like we would want each other to watch, but sometimes it's fun for like your Golden Geek pick to just be like a wild one that no one else has really seen, to throw that one into the pitch. But definitely I like probably over the holidays, that's usually when I go through a lot of those movies. It's usually when I'm at the old man's place, and him and I like to throw on those flicks because him and I watched Pearl and X like back to back, so we went on
Nice.
that journey together. So we got to finish the the
trilogy
last third.
there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
exactly. So, but yeah, no, I haven't really been looking back on them. Like right now, I can really only think of Maxine, but I know there's a bunch of other ones that I haven't seen. Long Legs was a big one, and I've seen that one now.
Right. Nice. Cool.
I'm sure that will be brought up.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Travis has it in a couple other areas.
Cool. Well, should we jump to our main topic of the night?
Sure. I'd love
Yeah.
to.
Now
Like
we're talking Kraven predictions, and I realize in retrospect I probably should have wrote out some set predictions, but I'm just gonna kind of like steer us in like what we think. Like is Kraven gonna die? Like
It's funny that you say that.
You're starting with the deaths right off the bat.
yeah.
Oh,
It's funny that you
wow,
say that
yeah.
because I feel like as soon as you said Craven predictions, I'm like, oh man, I should probably look into getting tickets for that movie. But I'm not really worried that it's going to be too sold out.
It's not gonna
theater
sell
near
out.
me. But yeah, we're getting close to Craven. What's your hype level on that one? Because for me, it's pretty damn low. I still got to see Gladiator, man. That one's. In
You can
the-
see
the
Kraven
forefront.
before. Well, what do you think? Kraven before Gladiator, Dylan? What would you say? What was the order for that?
For
Would you say see
Kirkland
Gladiator?
Patzer?
Yeah. Would you say he should see
I
Gladiator?
think Kirkland
before
should go to the
Kraven?
theater this weekend and watch Gladiator for sure. If he's
There
up
you
for
go.
it, I think he should do that.
I would love to do that.
I think it's
Shane
one
and I
you'll
might
want to see in
Moana
the
too
theaters
as
so.
well this weekend. But
Well, don't worry about that. Just go to Kraven, or just go to Gladiator. Just go to Kraven early.
she
Just
does want to see
Gladiator
Gladiator,
too.
though. She'll want to see Moana too. So maybe I'll try and get multiple viewings in.
Little double feature. Because
Yeah.
Kraven it's 2 weeks from now, right? It's not next Thursday. It's the Thursday after. So we still got
Yes.
some time. So I think Kirkland's got a lot of time to get to Gladiator. But that could also be a nice Christmas one with the family over the holidays.
That's true.
potentially.
But Nosferatu, right? That's the real pitch. Get the whole family out. To go
Well,
see
but that's so
Nosferatu.
late. You know what? If you want to go for
Christmas
something on like the 22nd, what are you gonna do?
That's true.
Nosferatu's not out yet. Go see
Yeah, that's
Gladiator
fair enough.
instead, right?
That's true. You won me
Mhm.
over. I like the Gladiator pitch.
Yeah, I mean, my excitement is to answer Taylor's question, I don't think he's dying. I think he's alive. They want to keep their head honchos alive, so they can play with that sandbox that they just do so well with all these movies and the interconnectedness, which they haven't done for a while. Hype level is very low. Hype level is not even dirt ground level. It's like beneath. It's pretty
Bedrock.
much as low as you can get, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of a movie that I'm going to see that I'm less excited to see. I don't know. Even Venom, there was tiny. Was there? There wasn't even really that much excitement. I just feel like this one's gonna be very bland compared to everything, and that's saying something for the Sonyverse movies. But even like Madame Web, I don't know. I was more excited for that than I am for Kraven here.
I feel like I'm hoping that there's at least some like fun moments. It's not like I agree with you that it'll probably be bland, but I'm hoping there's a little bit more pizzazz in some of the action sequences that I look back on and like, oh yeah, there's some cool action in this movie. Because I think the story's gonna be very basic, and I don't know. Like I like Aaron Taylor Johnson enough, but mostly in like more side roles, like in Bullet Train and stuff like that. So I hopefully this wins me over. Was he the one in Kick-Ass?
Yep.
Yeah, back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the day. So he's grown a lot since then, but.
In the arms and the abs
Yeah.
department.
But no, it is overall pretty damn low. I would say it's higher than Venom because I just really didn't even want to see that movie because of what happened to me with my Venom 2 viewing. That was just awful. But and Madame Web, I was more so excited for Madame Web than Kraven the Hunter. But yeah, you got Russell Crowe in there, so riding off the Gladiator.
Yeah, I guess so, potentially. Well, Taylor, because you're choosing Kraven over Lord of the Rings, so to me that means that you're
Sacrilege.
very hyped because there's no other explanation for how you would
I
do
know
Lord of the
it's-
Rings dirty like that.
I know it's Lord of the Rings, but to me, I see it as the Rohirrim animated film, and like not exactly Lord of the Rings. Like I just see it as it's something different. It's not like if this was like
Right,
a live
but
action
I don't like 'em.
Hunt. If this was Hunt for Gollum Part 1, I'm there, absolutely. But yeah, I'm just feeling I the ATJ. I love ATJ, and with getting
You're
Aaron
the only
in
one
here,
that calls him that, I think.
I think so. yeah, just I think it's gonna be awesome seeing him in this role, just with that accent and the glowing eyes and fighting Rhino. Do I think this movie's gonna do great? No, it's gonna probably bomb hard, but I'm gonna have fun with it because I'm going into it. I'm like knowing what to expect. I think this is gonna be better than Venom 3 and how I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm gonna see Rohirrim at some point. I'm gonna get to it, but with Kraven, my hype level is probably around 6.5 to 7 out of 10. So it's up there, and it's just, yeah. Madam Web didn't do it for me, and as I already said, Venom 3 is Venom 3. But yeah, this is something that I know I pitched it at the start, like his death. He's not gonna die in this. I don't think we're gonna get more Sony-verse movies after this with. I'd just be surprised if we do. I think that there's just going to be there's not enough money, there's not enough income there. So why would they just be shoveling their money into the fire, right? Just it's not generating anything.
Yeah, I guess it's still like even Venom 3, just looking at the great boxofficemojo.com, 458 million it made worldwide, but like 320 of that is from international rather than domestic. Like I feel like Venom just seems to rake in money overseas consistently, even if it's less and less every time. But I almost feel like they could put in less budget every time if they wanted to, and get that kind of same return. So I don't think they're gonna be done with it yet. Like that's probably still decent profit. But yeah, it really begs the question of what they're gonna do next for like a character introduction, because these just seem to be not doing very well. If this one is to follow in the trajectory of Webb and what was that, Morbius before, and like. Okay, going up against Lord of the Rings, I don't think that movie's going to do great. I think maybe it has an equal shot with Lord of the Rings, but as we've talked about here, like Moana is out now. People are still hyped on Wicked, Gladiator, and then just a week after is Sonic 3, right? So, and then throw Lion King somewhere in there. I just feel like there's actually a lot of stuff coming out this month around the same time, and there's even things that people maybe want to see because they're hearing the hype on it. And I just don't see a world where if someone wants to go see a sick action movie that they go to this instead of Gladiator, unless they've already seen it, I guess. Yeah. Or Sonic even, if they're a superhero fan and they like more kid friendly things, they'd probably take their kid to that. So I just don't see people going to this. So I'm curious to see what the future is for sure, Taylor. To your point, especially if they're calling Venom truly is the last dance and they're done with that. I mean, money talks, but yeah, if they're not going to do Venom, what are they going to do?
And Venom's like very much their piggy bank, their
cash cow,
money tree, exactly. Like I feel like it's such a you can't even compare something like Venom to these other Sony properties that they're doing, just because he's just so like you said, like most of the money that was made is overseas, and I feel like he's just such a global icon because of the image. And yeah, he's a phenomenon. He's a star, baby. Look at him dance in Vegas. So yeah, no, I don't see this doing well at all financially. But I guess to answer the first question, no, I don't think Mr. Kraven's gonna kick the butt in this first project.
Yeah, no bucket being kicked. What do you guys think the opening weekend's gonna look like?
Oh man.
I'll give you the Webb number. Webb was 17 million opening weekend.
17, eh? I'm going to say...
And what was Venom 3 opening? Let's check that. Because that could be a good reference point. 51. Okay, 51 for Venom. Okay.
I'm going to say 11. Nice.
Oh,
nice
lower than Webb, eh?
Yeah, lower than Webb. I feel like Webb had some big stars in there. The 50 Shades fans coming for Dakota Johnson. Of course, Sydney Sweeney was like a big selling point. But this movie doesn't have any of those individuals, so I think it's gonna really not do well at all.
Is ATJ or Dakota Johnson a bigger star?
ATJ.
Ooh.
Taylor, that's in your heart, ATJ. But do you think also in like the actual charts?
It's funny because going through Madam Web, I realized like Dakota Johnson maybe isn't as big of a star as like I thought she was, just because like Shades was such a big thing kind of when those movies came out, and I just kind of
I feel like Shades would have been the same regardless of who was in that role.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like they are very similar actually. Now that
I kind of feel like they are in that very similar tier. bucket. I don't know. I feel like ATJ, I see him more as like the supporting guy in other movies. I'm trying to think of like the biggest movie that he's starred in terms of
Probably
success. Well, see, I guess he was. He was so young, and as you said,
Yeah.
not big and muscly at that point in time.
'Cause what
But
else
that was
is
a
he,
long
like,
time ago. I don't
rooted
even know
in?
if people like. I don't even associate that as the same guy. He's evolved. He's
Yeah.
like a Pokemon. He's evolved into his third form at this point.
And he's not people's number one pick for Pietro these days either for Quicksilver, unless you're Taylor Field.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
happened
yeah.
too. I guess this guy's career is an enigma. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
He was in Stuntman. Why can't I remember it? Was it Stuntman?
Fall Guy,
Fall Guy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there.
not the lead though.
No.
Another
He's
good
pretty-
like
yeah,
side
pretty
character
small.
role.
That's right. It's like character.
Yeah, him and that director are a duo for sure. 11 is really low. I'm gonna go higher than Webb, but not
Okay.
much higher. I'm gonna go with 23 million. Oh,
damn!
Taylor's got something. What's up?
Godzilla.
Oh my god!
Godzilla.
You're right.
He
He's
was in
amazing.
He
Godzilla?
lead in that. He did lead in that.
Yeah.
It was like just generic like military white guy role ever.
Okay. Sounds like his kind of role. I'm gonna go. I don't know what I just said. I'm gonna go with 23
23 you
million.
said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's my number. 23 million. Opening
Yeah,
weekend.
it's funny that you're like a Scott Eastwood fan too, because I feel like they're like the exact same in my mind. Like I thought Scott Eastwood was the lead
What?
of,
No.
That's a funny.
Scott
connection.
Eastwood is at least like 5 tiers below ATJ.
Oh, okay.
Five.
Never mind.
At least.
I
5.
apologize for putting words in your mouth.
5 tiers? No, like 2 tiers maybe. That's crazy.
He has ATJ pretty high. He's on nickname basis with them.
That's
yeah,
true.
that's right. Because I think Scott Eastwood, he's in Pacific Rim, isn't he?
Always comes
Such a
back to
similar
Pacific
movie.
Rim on this
That's
podcast.
so funny. Like you could swap out ATJ or Scott Eastwood for either of those roles, and it's like the exact same movie.
You're not wrong. It's
Who's in Battleship too? It's probably one of those two.
oh god.
Is that what it was called? Battleship with Rihanna.
There was definitely
that
a movie
one
called
had
Battleship.
that one had Jesse Plemons in it. That one had
Ooh,
no
Jesse
the guy who plays. He's in John Carter of Mars. That actor is the main in Battleship.
Mars.
Yeah.
That's a made-up movie.
That's
not a
made
real
up,
movie.
100%.
John Carter of Mars. Have you never heard of it?
I have not.
I gotta Google this. I don't remember. This.
You know, I know you
I know
it,
John
Kirkland.
Carter from I don't know what, but it's probably of Mars, I guess.
Okay, I'm adding the of Mars part, but
Taylor
it's
Kitsch.
John Carter.
Yeah, he looks exactly like a mixture of ATJ and Scott Eastwood. This is like an AI mashup, this character. Oh, so there's John Carter, and then there's John Carter of Mars, or is it the same movie?
It's the same thing. I don't know why I added the of Mars.
Okay.
I associate the planet with them.
What's your opening prediction there, Taylor?
Ooh, opening weekend, eh? I'm gonna say 20 million.
Okay.
Okay.
Splitting the difference.
In between.
Splitting the difference, yeah. Do you guys think there's gonna be any hint of a Spider-Man or a mention of a Spider-Man in this movie at all? Could be like at the end.
I would
like,
say on par. No, probably. I was gonna say on par with the Miss Webb references, but we actually had like Uncle Ben in there, so I feel like it would actually be even less so than that. So, and by less so than that, probably not at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna say maybe one cheeky little line of dialogue that's like a pun of some to some
super
extent.
corny line. Where
Yeah.
it's just like eye rolly.
Yeah. Your eyes are gonna be rolling on the floor. But yeah, I don't think so. I feel like I'm looking at the same time. I was just gonna compare it to Webb, which had I do feel like very little. Even though you'd mentioned that Peter Parker's or whatever the heck his name is. Uncle Ben stuff. I can't remember Uncle Ben's name for some reason. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this one's gonna have a lot. I think they just want to make this feel like ATJ going on some cool adventure, and it's not really that connected to Spider-Man. So I'm gonna say yeah, highly little, very little amount. I don't know why I said highly little, very small amount.
Very small. Okay.
Very little.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very, very small thing. I don't think you're going to see a Spider-Man or a Peter Parker or anything like that. I think you're going to get some kind of just a tie-in, probably. But yeah, nothing serious. What about like a secret kind of like surprise, like Sinister Six affiliation or like a Norman Osborn or something like that? Do you think there's any wiggle room there?
I think they're veering away from that stuff right now. That's my perception on the whole thing. At least with these last two movies, I feel like we haven't really had any fun, larger universe setup things. Like they're pretty contained to their own movies. And so I kind of feel like that's going to be the case here, although Kraven does make a bit more sense to be the one to gang up with Morbius and Vulture. But I just kind of feel like they've dropped that at this point. Like I don't really think they're going to follow on that thread at all. And instead just like get some money from MCU and give them back Spider-Man for a bit, since that's probably it's an easier way for them to make money because they don't actually have to do anything at all except give the license away, and then they just make probably more money than this movie would make or Madam Web made them. So yeah, I'm gonna say none of that stuff. Honestly, maybe your post credits always got room for something like that. But I don't think we're going to see any like fun cameos. I think this is going to be a pretty constrained movie in that way, or restrained movie rather.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's going to... That's what I want as well. Like I just I want them to put that in the hands of if they want to use those characters, just let MCU do it. They can do it so much better, and then they'll probably make more money of just licensing them away as opposed to doing it themselves, cuz people aren't loving these projects as of late, and I feel like it would kind of be along the lines of how like the first Venom came out, where that one was really isolated. Like it really wasn't pulling from anything else. Like it just kind of, I don't know, like very minimal references, I guess, to other Spidey properties. And yeah, I think this one's gonna be very much the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's gonna be pretty isolated, pretty much its own kind of thing. I think it's interesting that they kind of did throw Rhino in there, and if I had to say, I think he is probably gonna die. I don't think this movie's gonna hold back, and they're gonna kill him off because, I mean, it's okay. I mean, I know Rhino is also like a Spider-Man villain, but I don't think you're ever gonna see that kind of face off with this.
You think
Rhino
he's dead?
versus the Spider-Man.
Like
I think he's gonna die.
decapitated, dead.
With what Kraven is doing and what I'm seeing in the trailer, like there's always an ounce of truth to myths, and then he just stabs this fucking like saber claw or bone into the guy's neck in jail. I think Rhino's getting the same deal. He's gonna get right into the neck.
He's gonna tear a hole. He's gonna use that Rhino horn, tear a hole through the multiverse, go back into the MCU. That's how we get these properties combined. Next project, ATJ.
That would be crazy.
What does Toombs say? Like, oh, Spider-Man's something.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
Something to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
God, I hate that.
I think Rhino's gonna survive the this movie. I don't think they would kill off that's a pretty big Spider-Man villain. So I think they want to keep him alive. I do think he will be it'll be an ambiguous ending to his character. Like I think what the situation could be, they're probably just like on some cliff somewhere, and Kraven like baits him to like charge him, and then he just jumps out of the way and he falls into an abyss. Like we've seen Sabretooth in the X-Men animated series. Like I feel like a ton of Marvel characters just fall off cliffs. Ambiguously, it's like, yeah, anyone would probably die from that distance, but like they've got super endurance, so they're still alive somehow. I feel like that's going to be the same situation with Rhino, where he's going to just quote unquote die off screen, but like he's not actually dead.
Yeah, I feel like with Rhino, like he's such an iconic villain in the Spider-Man universe because he's just like very simple, right? You just guy dressed up like a rhino and he just runs at things with his rhino horn, and like he's still like a goon though, like in my eyes. Like he's really not like a super
He's like the
villain.
top tier goon, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Very durable. Like it could be ambiguous because he's just, well, he's gonna be back and he's just gonna be doing his same thing, just running through the city, destroying it with his rhino horn. Yeah, I don't know. Like I never would see I can never foresee a project. Sorry, that Rhino is like the main threat of any movie. But I mean, he is very iconic. I feel like he's appeared in probably every single animated like show that they've done for Spider-Man. Rhino's probably popped up at some point in time. I would imagine. I don't know for sure, but he's just, I don't know. It's very memorable. So I would agree, though. I don't think he would be killed, but I would also not be too surprised because what we got of Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was very eye-rolly and disappointing. I'm not sure if you saw that one.
Believe it or not, I have. Yeah.
The Russian Rhino.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's the only other time we have had him on live action, haven't we? Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
Unless there's some like weird '90s Spider-Man,
There could
Japanese
be.
Spider-Man, whatever.
never know.
Oh, that was a wild movie.
So here's one. Do you think, and I don't know a lot of the backstory, do you think Kraven's abilities, is it going to be just through vigorous training? Is he going to be like superhero serum? Like, how do you think he's going to have
superhero
his-
juice. He's got to
think
get
he's getting
superhero juice at
juiced?
some point, right? I feel like I could also see it that he is just this this like master hunter, but I feel like with the all the characters that we've followed through the Sonyverse has had some sort of heightened abilities, and I think just saying that he's just like a good hunter, like maybe that's the start of it, but like he's gonna get some sort of super juice. I don't even know like the comic book lore if that is something that he really has or if he is just a straight up hunter. I just kind of remember him being a hunter that has a lot of gadgets and stuff. So, but I don't know. For this, I could definitely imagine him getting juiced up and just popping off, and then we see him at the end.
I'm on the wiki here. He consumes a mystical serum to give
Oh, there you
himself
go.
enhanced
Yeah.
strength and dramatically slow the aging process.
Oh, he is slow to aging.
Which I do feel like that does happen in the Spider-Man animated show. I feel like he takes a serum and then like goes to hunt is the thing. But I might be making that up a little bit. But that just sounds classic. I think that what they might do is maybe switch it up, and instead there's like he goes hunting. And there's like a mystical saber tooth or like probably not an extinct species. Yeah, maybe like a
Gets the
tiger
purple
that
flower.
just gets a bite on him, and there's some green sap in that tooth that kind of invigorates him with these powers. I think it could be something like that.
He just dies at the end of the movie from poison. It's just
Right,
it's
it
just
has
a
a delayed
poison sting.
effect. Temporarily gives him like an ecstasy, but then he just crashes and burns at the end. I'd be into that. That'd be very surprising.
It'd be bold.
It'd be the opposite of this
It.
typical dramatically slowed aging process that I guess is normally attributed to the character.
I did not know that he had slow aging. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a random thing. Like, would that ever be relevant in the comics? Because it's not like 20 years go by usually, right? Like they're just kind of always just like, yeah, no time's really passed. Like maybe 5 years have passed,
Yeah.
but like it's not actual time.
My guess would it would just be used as like he's been around for so long. Like it's not so much like he gets this and then going forward it's relevant. Like he's just been hunting since the conquistadors, invaded South America. Like I feel like it would be something like that. Again, like I don't really
see.
remember all the details.
I do.
from the
I
show,
feel like he
but-
probably usually gets the serum like pretty close to whenever he encounters Spider-Man.
Oh,
Like I don't know if he's a Wolverine type where he's just been around for decades and decades.
yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm
I'm
not
sure
sure.
there's a bunch of different versions that they've done in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting a flashback to Conquistador days though in this movie. Unless I missed that in the
Taylor
trailer. I
Johnson
don't
dressed up
remember.
like a conquistador.
Jeez. Do you guys think that his father is going to bite the bullet here? The legendary Russell Crowe.
I kind of
It's his
forgot that there was
father
a
in the movie,
thing
yeah.
occurring in this movie.
I knew he was in
I-
it. I thought it was his brother. Because
Well, his brother is in it
this,
too.
right?
Yeah, I
Chameleon?
believe his
the
brother is
whole
in
family.
Chameleon's in here. But yeah, his father is in here too. But I don't know if his father. He appears like he's a bad guy in the trailer, but I'm not too sure.
Hard Knocks. School of Hard Knocks. It was a rough childhood. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes because if this randomly makes like $1 trillion movie, I don't think Russell Crowe like signs on for a multiple project deal. So I think it would be pretty definite of an end to him. So I'm gonna say yes. He gets muck ducked, and then that's what.
What
That's
if
what gets
what if
the
like
revenge
Sidney
going.
Sweeney though, Russell Crowe was tricked into thinking this is part of the MCU, and so he's like, I want part of that cash machine. I want to
Was
be
he
in
already
these.
in the MCU? He's like Zeus, right? In Thor.
Oh my God,
Is
is
that
he?
Russell Crowe?
Yeah.
Holy
there you
shit,
go.
I did not
That
remember
is.
that. Yeah, I guess that was pretty recent actually. So never mind. Yeah, I take
How
that
could you
back.
forget the great Love and Thunder?
So I'm with you. I think he's dead for sure. Because that is a classic way for any movie to make you feel sympathy for, especially in this case when it's a villain type character.
Yeah.
But of course, you'll feel sympathy for him when his father passes away. So I'll say this guy, is gone for sure. He dies to the same tiger that infused Kraven with his powers, something like that.
I like it.
Oh my goodness.
Good theory.
Father-son trip.
That is pretty much it that I got for some miscellaneous predictions whipped up. You guys have anything else you want to shout out?
End credit?
predictions-wise?
Is there an end credit scene?
There is one, but what
there's
is
gonna
it
be
is the
one.
question.
Yeah. Is it confirmed that there is one, or you're just it's prediction?
There's got to be one. I mean,
There's gotta
name
be
the last comic movie that hasn't had one. You know,
Endgame. That's the easy one.
that was 6
There
years
was
ago.
one recent. Wasn't Venom? Wasn't there no
Venom
Black
had
Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Right.
Venom had one.
Um,
I'm gonna say yes, and I do think it will be ambiguous. Like he's, dimly lit room, trying to find his next hunt, but it might be like Morbius or something rather than Spider-Man. Maybe that's what it is. Morbius,
the same
or
ending of when he's Morbius meeting Tombs.
I think
What are
it's
you doing
just
here?
him
Oh,
on his
something to do
own,
with
and I think he's finding his next target. I don't think it'll be a Madame Web character, so I'll say Morbius. I'll say he wants to hunt down the vampire.
It's just Sydney Sweeney. Like, we're going to the MCU. Let's go.
Morbius would be an interesting one. That'd be pretty cool.
Would it, Taylor? Would it be really?
I think that'd be kind of cool because they're all supposed to be in the same universe except for Madame Web. That's its own thing.
Oh right, yeah, but that was like after it had filmed and released. They were like, it's its own thing, right? Wasn't it something weird like that?
I can't remember. Did they say that they're like, yeah, we're not continuing with Madame Web? It was so financially bomb.
I don't think they would say
Yeah.
that publicly, but
Didn't
it's
Sydney
implied.
Sweeney
TV
say
shows,
that?
right? It's like we're not continuing with another season. But I guess they're not really saying that. It's just kind
Yeah,
of what's
that's
announced.
true. They do that with seasons, but yeah, I feel like they don't usually do that with movies. They just don't talk about it if it bombs.
Let it go under
They don't want
radar.
the investors to catch on to their failures.
Yeah, because like I feel like Madam Web, there is some potential for an appearance there, but like is Dakota Johnson going back to put on the
No.
suit? If not, it would like something that was already filmed before. But yeah, no, I
Put
I
on
don't
the
know why they would do
suit.
that character.
There was no suit to begin with. I mean,
She's wearing something at the end. I guess it's just a blindfold, and she's like in a wheelchair.
just a
Isn't she?
blindfold. Yeah,
can't remember.
we got like 5 seconds of suit time on screen.
5 seconds of
Jeez.
suit.
We did.
Do you think there's
Ugh.
post credit, Taylor? What's your prediction there?
Absolutely, there's post credit. I don't know if it's gonna be. It's not gonna be humorous. I think that's kind of like the Venom thing with this being R-rated and just kind of more violent. I think it's gonna be a very serious one, and yeah, I think it'll be something like a character coming in to set it up. People are gonna roll their eyes if it's a Norman Osborn. Like I'm putting a team together. People are gonna be like, "Oh, are you fucking kidding me? We don't need any more of this." But
Wait, is Kraven R-rated actually?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
dropping my box office prediction by 5 million. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to 18 million. I did not realize it was R-rated.
that's definitely.
That's
yeah.
not
Stay at
good.
11.
What is I guess the overall box office? Got to do that as well. What's your overall prediction when it's done its run at the theaters?
50 million. 50 million.
Holy, 50 million!
Yeah.
Big
Lion King
international
level.
number.
Madam
Lion
Web,
King level.
Madam Web cranked out 100 million when it was all said and done.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 50 million.
Half of Web, holy F! I mean, it is R-rated, so there's a chance.
I'll say 90.
These numbers feel so low, but they also feel so realistic. I'll go. What did you say, Kirkland? 80?
90.
90?
90.
Okay. I'll go 97. I'll go higher,
Okay.
but not
Under
cracking
100.
the 100 million range.
Let me ask you this: do you think it's gonna make more at the box office than Rohirrim, or less?
Oh man. I hope.
I
less.
really don't know how Rohirrim's gonna do like worldwide, because I feel like there is just a global audience for Lord of the Rings. I
True.
think Rohirrim would do more internationally. I would say international numbers will be the
Yeah,
big
I'm
one.
putting my heart into this one. I'm gonna go Rohirrim.
Yeah.
Do I actually believe it? Unfortunately, not really. But I'm gonna put my faith in Lord of the Rings in this case.
Yeah.
For new, interesting Lord of the Rings.
I hope it does good for that sake, just so they can see like, oh, you know what, we need to put more money and make more Lord of the Rings projects. So I hope it gets that.
Mhm.
But well, that makes me excited. Then I'm curious to see how the numbers compare between the two.
Two anecdotes here. One is going to support and one's going to not support this argument is that I had a friend recently who I don't think has seen a movie in the theaters for years who was like, yo, you want to go see Lord of the Rings with some friends, get a little watch party going together? So it's like, okay, this is bringing people to the theater. But then I had a couple friends who were like, what is that movie? There's a Lord of the Rings animated movie coming out. And these are like nerdy, geeky people. Like they know this kind of stuff, and they didn't even realize it was a thing. So I feel like that's the two sides of the coin. There is if people know about it and they're Lord of the Rings fans, they're probably like, oh hell yeah, I'm into that. Especially if they like animated stuff and anime and whatnot. But then a lot of people who just don't even know it exists probably.
You didn't have anyone come up and be like, hey, we should do a watch party for Kraven. You know, get everyone together. And...
No, I didn't, believe it or not. Other than ATJ, he shot me a text. Say, hey, do you wanna,
nice.
wanna go see this picture?
Please see this.
We worked really hard on it. Please see this.
I have so much debt. I was gonna say, pardon me. I feel like Rohirrim. I haven't really been seeing like a lot of marketing for it, but I also haven't been seeing that at all for Kraven. I've been in the theater a little bit just because I've been under the weather, but did you guys get Rohirrim trailers for Gladiator?
Oh man,
Probably not, eh?
I did get.
did not.
Yeah, I think I did get Rohirrim for 2 movies recently. And Taylor, I can't remember. Did you have Kraven for Gladiator? I forget if I
Yes.
did. I got there kind of late. I might have missed the trailer for it or something.
Not to just sideline this, but so Kevin in the chat, Kevin's been dropping a whole bunch of details here.
Big predictions in the chat.
Yeah. So I'm only bringing up this one because, I don't think that this movie is going to be $1 billion or more. At
For the audio
box
listeners,
office.
what is the comment?
The comment is Mufasa, the Lion King domestic box office debut at 80 to 100 million. International audience going to push this film to 1 billion or more at the box office. Kevin, I'm sorry, I don't think this is $1 billion movie.
I don't think anyone cares about Mufasa the Lion King.
Because
This is like the cash grab of all cash grabs, and I think it's just a total whiff. We'll see if I'm wrong about that, but
predictions right now are 55 million, I think, for Sonic 3, and then 50 million for Mufasa. So they're close, but Sonic was leading it, I think.
getting beat by the hog, hey?
The hog, 2 hogs, and a echidna and a fox.
That's right.
A
And
kid
a James
Two
Marsden.
Eggmans.
and James Marsden, Cyclops himself. Time will
Was
tell.
that it? Were we done the predictions?
And credits.
Yeah.
And
think
credit.
so.
Okay. Well, let's jump to our first ad break and sally forth into some other MCU news.
Sally Ho.
And we are back. So our next wonderful topic of MCU news here is actually the notes are done backwards. Well, we're gonna keep it with Marvel related. I know who to blame for that.
Teleprompter's fucking around with Taylor.
Yeah. So there's a rumor going around. I don't have which tier it is. That information eludes me right now. But Robert Pattison has met with Feige for an MCU role. Discuss.
Dun, dun.
Duel.
Oh, I love it. This is cool news. I hope it's true. I love the Pattinson man. I feel like if it is true, it would be not like a big weird way to say that. Big continuing role moving forward. Like I don't think it's gonna be like a Robert Downey Jr. level like contract where he's here for like a decade. But I would love to see him in there because he's fantastic. I would really love it to be a villain role. I would just want to see more of that side of his acting because of course he's the Bat. He's already a big hero already over on DC. So I would really, really want him to do like a wild type of villain as well, like someone that can really just chew up, like almost like a Dafoe level of just. I guess he's already kind of done that with Dafoe in Lighthouse, but yeah, no, I'd love to see that side of him, and mostly just because I already have him as the hero in Batman. So yeah, that's kind of my want, and this is just cool news. I would love for it to be true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same boat. I think it'd be really cool. And yeah, we see this a lot. A lot of people are either in DC and Marvel, or they're in Marvel and Sony Marvel, as we just
Like
discussed
Russell
with
Crowe,
some. Yeah, like it seems like if someone's open to doing a superhero thing, they're open to doing every superhero thing, and sometimes all at once. For some reason, I don't believe this for some reason. I kind of feel like Pattison maybe would want to play out his run as Batman before he jumps over to the Marvel universe, and maybe just do like, okay, do my superhero stuff, and then in between Batmans, I can do some weirder things like a Mickey 17, or there's also a rumor that he's going to be in the next Nolan movie, I think, right? So just mix in the kind of maybe higher prestige working with these big directors, because he's kind of a big name right now in between the superhero stuff. So I don't know if you'd want to throw another like Marvel thing in the bucket, but I think to your point, Kirkland, if he did do it, I definitely see it being a kind of a one-off villain, or like just a smaller role. A classic case where like, okay, it could be a one and done, but you could always bring him back. I feel like the comparison point to me would be Jake Gyllenhaal and him coming in to do Mysterio, and spoilers, that character does die, but in a multiverse situation, you could always bring him back. And if Jake Gyllenhaal wanted to come back and do it again, or if they had more material for it, even if he wouldn't be the villain of the next Spider-Man movie, that would be really odd if they did Mysterio again, especially with the same actor. But that's kind of the tier I feel like it is. Like, get a big prestigious actor who hasn't done Marvel before, bring him in here to like chew up the scenery with a fun villain, who can be kind of disconnected, just being a one-off thing. It could even be a bigger movie. Like one of the things that came to mind, and I think someone put this in our Discord chat, might have been Travis even, is maybe Pattison as like the Beyonder in like the Secret Wars kind of situation. So kind of just being more or less the guy who sets the scene. I don't even know if you'd really call him a villain. He's like the Ents, he chooses no side. He's kind of just there setting up the events of things, and could be just a fun, like we saw in X-Men, right? It's kind of a wacky version of the Beyonder, and so it'd be interesting to see just other versions you could get there. So I don't know. That's that kind of tier though, where it's a smaller role, smaller character. You could just see him being on Secret Wars, but you could always bring him back 5 years later if you wanted to. That's kind of the role I would expect him to do, and that's not necessarily what I would hope most for him. I think Beyonder would be an interesting one. But yeah, how about you, Taylor? You think do you think this is likely, this rumor?
Oh, I have a weird kind of scenario in my mind, and this is not true, so take this with a grain of salt and don't believe what I'm about to say, but it's just one thing that I've kind of painted in my mind. So we have Rob, who's become a great Batman, and his movie is just taken off.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't like that.
He's taken off, and his Batman movie is fantastic. And you have James Gunn, who's just taken over DC, and he's trying to implement his own regime and his own thing. And he just sees that there's this Batman movie that's not his, and it's not involved with his universe he's trying to create. He's trying to do new things. So you have this Batman movie that's just lingering and loitering on his table. And he's like, I don't want this here. So what does he do? It's like, you know what? How do we slowly get rid of this Batman so I can do my own thing? Well, the movie is doing great financially, so what if we just try and like put better, bigger, brighter things in front of Rob's face? So maybe he's like, hey, James Gunn, James Gunn is like, hey, Feige, can you hook up Rob with a job here at the MCU? So he's just trying to like get him out of the DC world and put him in the MCU, and yeah, maybe. So maybe that's what's going on, and maybe it's just a stepping stone, in James Gunn's way of just kicking this franchise out from his dinner plate. But again, don't believe everything you hear. I'm just making that up for the most part. At least I hope I am. I think though the possibility of there being actual truth here, I think that there could be like a 10% chance that Feige has actually reached out and shown interest, because you have Rob in a very successful superhero movie. He's a famous actor that's not been casted yet in the MCU, and God knows we're running out of actors in the MCU at this point. The big name ones, and the Feige loves to land a big name for a role, and some smaller unknown ones too, but still looking for those big names. I think you're right, Kirkland. A villain would be a great idea for him to portray, but he's definitely got his hands full. That's for sure right now with a lot of projects, especially if you said, Dylan, he's going maybe another Nolan film too. Like that's a lot of work. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard so many people in this Nolan film potentially, or even some confirmations, and so it always could be like he was a pretty big role in Tenet, and obviously it'd be fun for him to come back and work with Nolan again. But I could also see that being just him being a smaller role. Like I feel like there's so many people in Oppenheimer. It's like that's a huge actor who's in this movie for one or two scenes or something like that, just because they just want to be around Nolan. They just want to see him work and that kind of thing. And especially if he has that past relationship already through Tenet, right? So I don't know. It could be a smaller thing. You know, maybe that's not indicative of him being busy filming this movie for a full year. But that'd be cool. I'd love to see him in another major role in a Nolan film as well.
He's gonna be in the Pew role, just completely naked, just
Right.
having sex on screen, and that's kind of
With Cillian Murphy?
Yeah, with Cillian Murphy. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Cillian Murphy's confirmed, I think, for that film as well. I can't remember.
Is he?
I can't remember. There were so
I
many
missed that one.
names. I remember
It's hard to-
Zendaya's
yeah.
in there, Tom Holland's in there. There's some juicy ones for sure.
Yeah, anyone from Marvel. A lot of Marvel crossover there.
Yeah.
So we got a lovely question.
Beautiful
in,
question.
affiliation with this, yes, from the
Actually,
legendary.
you just reminded me. Aaron Taylor Johnson was in Tenet as well.
Yes, he
kinda
was.
just pops in and around all these films.
He does.
He's a
he
star
does.
maker right there.
He is a star maker. Sorry, Taylor. Carry on.
No sorries. Matty Sags, you legendary son of a gun. Question: Top 3 characters you'd like to see Pattison play in the MCU.
When he said top 3, and I'm like struggling to get 2.
Really?
I feel like just trying to picture kind of what's coming ahead. I mean, I guess there's many different potential like side characters. As I was saying, I definitely would want him to be more a villain role. When I was just like looking online of some things that could be coming up, and of course we've always kind of been bounced around like the Midnight Suns thing, and I actually unironically think he would be a fantastic Dracula, and it's hilarious because of course the Twilight, he's already played a vampire, but I would love him to like take that role and play actually like a very different type of vampire. Obviously the Marvel Dracula is a little bit different, but
Like the Blade Trinity Dracula.
yeah.
I
Isn't
could
it like
see
a
that.
Prison Break guy that like plays?
That is a Prison Break guy, yeah.
Funny. But yeah, put him in that role. Very different aesthetic though. I would want like, shouts out to Marvel Snap. I would want like the Marvel Snap version when he's got like his hair in the bun with the sword and everything. The
Did
more,
you
like,
ever get to that part in
traditional
Midnight Suns, the Dracula
style.
boss
No,
fight?
I never did.
It's a good boss
No,
fight.
One day I'll get there. But no, I'd love him in that role. And then I also another Marvel Snap card. I just randomly saw Swarm on my list. I'm like, man, what a wild
Here's
character.
the pile
That's
of
like
bees.
very pile of but I feel like they could do it in a very interesting way that would cost a lot of money to try and CGI the bees just surrounding him. But there you go. An early happy Friday, boys. Shouts out to you, Maddie. Thank you very much. And then the third one that I came up with was good old Multiple Man. Just a good reason to have another Mickey 17 situation.
Wow,
Just a
okay.
ton of different Robert Pattinsons on screen.
Very nice.
We'll see how it goes with Mickey 17, but
Yeah. I had a few pitches here, so definitely, yeah, in that villain train of thought, thinking about, okay, what's upcoming? We know X-Men's around the corner. I think he'd be a really interesting Magneto, although once again, kind of going against that concept of like, I don't know, is he going to really stick around? Magneto's going to be a character they want to squeeze the juice out of for years and years to come. But what about a Mr. Sinister? He was a big part of X-Men 97, bringing that character back. The darkness of that, he's very kind of vampire-like, going with your theory there, Kirkland. I think he would be super fun in a role like that. And that is a character that could be one that sticks around, but who knows? Maybe in the MCU proper, or like X-Men 97, he kind of is a character that sticks around, but perhaps in the movies, kind of just a one and done, or like, comes here and then like maybe in a few years he comes back, something like that, which he'd maybe more open for. So that's going to be in my top 3, Mr. Sinister. I also thought on the hero side of things, what about Gambit? Because we've talked about this, like Deadpool, Wolverine, you have Channing Tatum, but is that going to be our Gambit in the MCU, or is like that the tone they're going to go for? It's like, nah, they probably want to go for something that's not so much of like a caricature and like so dumb and silly, and leave that stuff for Deadpool. And I feel like he could be a really fun Gambit where he still has like the comedic chops, the charisma chops, but also I feel like him doing like a voice, but not like as silly of a voice as Channing. I don't know. I think that could be really cool. I think he kind of looks the part. Because I don't picture Gambit as like a super buff dude. And to have Channing, who's just like this beast of a man, play it, like I don't know. I kind of feel like Robert Pattinson's physique is maybe like a bit more fitting for a Gambit type. I could see him slinging cards. I'm sure he's thrown a card in a movie in his lifetime. I can't picture it, but I'm sure he's done it. I think he's got the face, the bone structure potentially to fit that mask really well. What do you guys think about that one?
I like it. I think it could work. I feel like there'd be people that would like, I don't know, be disappointed that we don't have the. I personally don't want to have the Channing Tatum going forward. If like we're getting like a serious version of the Gambit, I'd want it.
You're definitely not forgetting a serious version.
Yeah,
that would not
stay
fit.
in that Deadpool universe. But yeah, no, I could definitely see it done. I mean, he's a very talented actor, and it's definitely got like the square jaw to fit that whatever it's called, the head wrap thing that he wears.
The head wrap. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, put him in the Gambit suit. I want to see him sling cards.
Yeah, that'd be good. And then my last one here. So yeah, I'm gonna go Gambit, Mr. Sinister for my number 3. I'm going with that Defoe connection. I'm gonna say that he can be the MCU Green Goblin. I think that would be really fun to see him riff on that character. I think he could do a really fun job with it. I do think of Norman as like a bit of an older character, but I don't know. I mean, the MCU in general like went for a younger Aunt May. Even like Tom Holland, kind of a younger vibe than Andrew or Toby. So just a little like the more high school setting, that kind of thing, right? I don't know. I feel like there is perhaps more room to go for like a bit of a younger Norman in this type universe thing. So, or he could be a multiverse version, pops up for Secret Wars, something like that. I guess if you're gonna do multiverse, you'd probably just bring Defoe back. But you know what? Give me Defoe and and Pattison both playing Green Goblin in the same movie, or make them Hobgoblin. Maybe that's how you do it. As well as like a similar character, but like a different version. Then you can have both of them on screen at the same time. Little lighthouse connection. The light is mine. So that would be cool. I'm gonna go with a Goblin, Mr. Sinister, and Gambit for my top 3. Maddie, if you're still in the chat, let us know what your top 3 are. By the way, I want you to answer your own question. The Uno reverse card.
Yes. So I was not thinking future unused characters. I was thinking who I would want to see him as in like a
potential
reboot, could be like
scenario,
just reboot scenario or like multiversal, whatnot. Just characters that I think he would have or would be perfect as. I'm just gonna say a Tony Stark. I think he would make a great Tony Stark. I really, really do.
Interesting.
And I like Robert Downey Jr. is definitely like peak Tony Stark for sure. But I think in a multiversal setting, I think you could definitely see him. At least I could see him playing that character as well in another universe. And along with the vampire trend, I'm gonna say MCU Morbius, not whatever the Sony Morbius.
Oh no!
is.
Don't you dare put that
Don't
evil
do
on
that.
him.
Yeah, don't do that.
No way.
not liking that one.
I would hate that. I'd probably love it, but I would also hate it. Love-hate relationship.
And my last pick would be, I would say Moon Knight. I really like Oscar Isaacs as Moon Knight, but whenever I see him, I just see Apocalypse and I see Poe Dameron. I don't see Moon Knight. So I feel like if I were to look at Rob, I would just be like, yeah, there he is. There's that's fucking Moon Knight.
There he
Mark
is.
Spector. So, yeah. Those are my 3. Anything else you guys want to add to this topic before we mosey on?
I hope it happens. That's about it.
I do too. All right. We're going to take one more ad break here and continue on to our next topic. And we are back. So this is a topic I am super, super stoked to talk about. But we got a lot of Badlands news. Predator Badlands news.
Lay it on me. I'm assuming it was you that put it in the note on the Predator Badland connection. No, it was Travis? Okay. Wait, like it was like, what even was the note? Predator is the villain of Badlands or something? I thought it was like a crossover property as in the Badlands was something else, and we're getting some interesting Predator inclusion, but
it's from the Predator's point of view.
Ooh, that's interesting. That tingles my fancy a little bit.
Has that never been done before?
EVP
No.
would probably be the closest, I would
Yes.
imagine. Like there's some
Okay.
sequences, and kind of all the predators have moments of like from the predator's view, right? Of them like seeing their prey with the
More
the
as like a
thermal vision.
horror element.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's interesting. Badlands. Lay it on me, Taylor. Give me some deets.
That's all I got. That yeah, it's just. I mean, there was some other information that I sourced where it looks like that we're going to be visiting like an alien world too for a part of it, a part of the movie, which is very exciting. So I think that on top of visiting,
And
like
sorry, by
World-
Alien World, like Alien the
not
franchise.
xenomorph,
Okay.
not alien like that, just another alien planet, which is, I think that's
The
great.
65
And
planet where
65 planet,
Mm.
where Adam
It's a good
Driver
planet.
went.
Adam Driver is. Yeah.
I think though that you dealing with a predator that where it's basically it's their adventure, their journey. They're the main protagonist. That's just such a different concept, and it's a brilliant idea on how to keep this franchise fresh and going. Especially because you had that success of Prey, which Prey was piggybacking off of the classic and the general theme of Predator, where you have someone who is severely in over their head, and they're able to use their smarts and not just their muscles or technology to overcome a technologically more advanced, hyper intelligent predator like creature. So I think that being the most reoccurring thing with this franchise, being able to turn it on its feet now, just give us that kind of like this character. Like, I don't know if we're gonna have human characters in this movie. I don't know what the deal is gonna be. Like, if it's actual just a predator,
There's got.
there definitely will be, but not in like a mainline sense. Like, if this movie starts off where we're following this predator and building a relationship and a connection with this predator, like on their first hunt on an alien planet, hunting aliens we've never seen before, that's gonna be the coolest thing ever. And then they're gonna beam back up to their main predator mothership, and we're gonna see a bunch of predators, like, and they're communicating and talking, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna send you to Earth for a hunt." It's like, "Oh, this is gonna be so cool!" Just getting this kind of like perspective and just being able to explore more of the origin. And like I said in the Discord, like AVP 2, that was the only Predator movie that we've ever gotten to see live action, the Predator Homeworld. And so if we get to see a little bit more of that kind of Homeworld vibe, that's just gonna be great. There's so many blanks with this IP and the species that could be filled by doing a project on this type of aesthetic and this type of direction and narrative. And so it really has me excited just to see and learn so much more about their culture and how they do things. Because at its base and at its core, the only thing I could really speak to with predators is, okay, they won't kill you if you're armed. They won't kill you if you're a kid, I guess. But there's weird kind of convolutions. It's a little convoluted on how they can kind of operate while they're in a hunt.
How young do you have to be for them to not kill you? What age do they deem a kid?
I don't know, because like even being a kid, if you were to pull a gun out, I don't know, because you see in Predator 2, you have this kid in the graveyard with a toy gun, and he's like bang 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 bang, and the Predator sees that and like locks in on the gun, but doesn't kill the kid because the kid lowers his toy guns. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where they would draw the line.
AVP 1, he finds good old Waylon.
Heart
And
problems.
He's too old. Yeah,
Right.
He's too
He's
old.
too old.
There's a middle area, a little Goldilocks zone for the best age to kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if this one's going theatrical, unlike Prey?
Yes,
Okay.
this one is.
Was Prey
Yes.
not theatrical because it was around COVID? I can't even remember when that movie
No,
came out.
this was them just trying to get their toes wet
Cheaper
into the
budget.
franchise. Exactly. And because of its success, I think that is one of the big kickers for why Alien Romulus, because that was going to be straight to streaming as well. But
right.
then they were like, okay, we'll give it some more money. Prey did great. Let's throw it on the big screen.
Yeah,
Did they
I do
re-release
wonder.
Prey?
Hmm?
Sorry, Dylan. Did
No,
they
you go.
re-release Prey at all? Like, did they have?
They
any
did a
theatrical
physical.
showing?
They did a physical release, but they
Oh,
did not
physical release,
do
okay.
It's never been in
theatrical.
theaters, right?
Yeah, no theaters.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I wonder then what the budget of this movie is. I mean, I don't know if we have that information. We probably. When is it coming out? Is it coming out next year, Taylor?
Let me get a date.
Like, is it done filming at this point? What's the status of this film right now?
Because they have a official release date of November 7th, 2025.
Oh, so it's
Okay.
got some work left to be done. I would imagine if
Maybe a reshoot or 3 and then
Yeah.
edit that
Some
baby up
rewrites.
and send her out the door. I guess,
There's no
yeah,
humans
because
in this movie.
just based on what you're saying, it kind of, to me, seems like almost taking the wrong lessons of why Prey was a success. And Prey was a different kind of success because it wasn't a box office success. It was just a streaming thing, and reception was really good. But I kind of feel like, and I'm not an expert on Prey. We did the Alien Retro, and I watched those AVP movies, but I'm not an expert on these movies at all. I kind of what I really loved about Prey is that it was kind of a pretty simple story with easy kind of relatable characters, and it seemed like a more simplistic thing. They weren't going too over the top with it of like sequel-itis of just making the stakes and things bigger and grander and crazier. And based on what you're pitching there, Taylor, of like going to different planets, going back to the alien homeworld, having all these different predators communicating and fandangling each other, it just sounds like budget. It sounds like a really expensive movie. And I feel like, okay, if you're gonna put it on the big screen, yeah, maybe give it a little more juice on the money front. But also, like, you don't want to balloon the budget to the point where you have to make it be a huge success at the box office for it to get its return, right? And I don't know. I kind of hope it is more on the scale or vibe of what Prey was, but just like I don't think you need to make any changes to that movie and release it on the big screen. I think it was perfectly cinematic and bombastic enough, and enough of like a kind of a blockbuster type thing. So I don't know. We'll see. I guess I maybe am worried for them if they go too ham with this in terms of some of those pitches you had. It just seems like maybe taking the wrong lesson. Like, that sounds very AVP to me, and like AVP was not a success at the box. That we have the numbers for that, right? Not a success. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Just getting to kind of what you were talking about, Taylor, with like the setup of, I guess, the idea what the movie is. It actually, you reminded me too. I actually just recently watched Predators, which is pretty similar to kind of what you're pitching, where like, right, like the predators are on an alien planet. The only difference is it's not from the predator point of view, so it would seem like this would kind of be from the predator point of view. I can't really see this not having humans in it, even though I think I would prefer it actually not having humans in there. I just feel, especially since we went through the retro, AVP's near and dear to my heart, but in those, like in the AVP movies, I feel like the worst parts are around the humans and those characters, and I would just be so much more interested in focusing on the predators and kind of just that side of it, because I'm right there with you. I feel like the most interesting stuff is kind of their traditions and like what their code of conduct has to be, the Assassin's Creed of the predators, because I'm sure they have their own tenets and rules and whatnot to follow. So I like what I'm hearing for sure, and I agree with Dylan and some of like the maybe potential, I don't even want to call them red flags, maybe gray flags of of what maybe they're getting away from what they learned of like why Prey was a success. I feel like I wasn't really thinking about it till you mentioned it there, Dylan. So definitely something to to be noteful of. But no, I like this pitch for sure, and I don't know how humans would work in this situation, but I still feel like there are going to be humans, like 99%.
Yeah.
I met maybe they're just like someone crash lands on this planet, and that's kind of how they get thrown on the mix. But I hope nonetheless it is pretty minor, and yeah, it is kind of with what you were pitching there, Taylor, just from the predator point of view.
Yeah, I like that idea. Struggling to picture how that works, but I think that's kind of a good thing in a sense that it's something different and fresh and new. And that could be really cool. I don't know if I need generic, boring humans, but maybe I do. Like, maybe I think I don't because I want to think I'm cool and interesting, unique. But then maybe I'm in theater, I'm like, I'm not feeling connected to this guy because he doesn't speak English. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Transformers, right? I think you have several Transformers movies where the Transformers are having relationships with the humans, and like the humans are like the main,
It's the relations with the
yeah, not sexual relationships.
Not sexual. Okay. Okay.
No. But they have these friendships, and the humans are the main characters. And so I think that if you were
But
to
then movies are never
tackle-
from the Transformers' point of view, are they?
Ooh.
Who is the point of view of these
No,
movies? Anyway?
Shia definitely is like the
Shia's
main
surprise.
characters in those
Yeah.
movies, but you do get like, I feel like Optimus is like the main Transformer character, like where you get his perspective, and he's definitely like the main that you're following after Shia, but that might be up to interpretation. So I feel like if people do pitched that idea and that concept, like, hey, let's just have, if you've seen Bumblebee, that first opening sequence on Cybertron, let's just get a movie of that with no humans, just the Transformers doing their stuff, they're battling and everything like that. And I know we got that Prime movie, that animated one, which I've not seen yet, and I'd like to because I heard good things.
Transformers 1? Is that like that one?
That might be it. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, that's kind of like what I'm thinking like we would need, but more like a live action CGI kind of style, just without the humans. But I mean, in the concept, like for Predator, like do something like that with Predator, but with no humans. I'm okay to do a Predator movie devoid of humans. Maybe at the end you have an Easter egg of like, oh, he's done his hunt, now he's going to Earth, and we can all be all giddy, like, oh, Earth, humans, fuck. So
Yeah, I can't. What is Predator's speech like? Do they make grunts and things like that, or can they speak English?
Some like clicky clack
they can
sounds.
speak English. I'll
They
Can
can?
speak. Oh yeah, fuck! You're gonna pull up the Predator video
I'll get some
when he's
pull up
laughing.
Predator.
And how do they do that? Is it like a voice box situation?
That is
'Cause
beyond.
I imagine their
my
lungs
knowledge.
or their vocal cords are looking awfully different than a human's.
They look pretty abnormal. It's no, I don't remember them speaking English at all. All I remember is after the first Predator when you have the Predator laughing, and it sounds very, very interesting.
See if I can find.
See if
on
Taylor
the edge of my
finds what
seat
he's
here.
finding there. It's interesting 'cause, like, just the topic of like having humans in these films, and like, has there ever been a live action movie without like just regular humans in the movie? Like, if it is just a CGI character, even though it is like in a live action world, is that, there's got to be something out there, but like it's hard for me to really picture that. Like, if they were going to do a project that is not an animated project, but there's also not like humans involved. Well, yeah, this is it.
Let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear it?
No.
No.
I don't know
Too
how to
bad.
share my audio.
Moral of the story, though, the Predator can speak English.
Yes,
Okay.
they definitely can.
Nice. Hold tight.
Is that
We'll
what you
wait
want,
for-
though, Taylor? When you're talking how like the Predators can talk to each other, like, are you wanting like subtitle like gurgly noises, or because it wouldn't really make sense for them to speak English back on their home base, right?
You actually make a very good point, because I don't know if I'll be able to find it in here.
We'll do
Maybe
the,
it's in here. So you have
I have seen
the
this one, 2018.
You have seen
okay.
this one.
Oh,
So
yeah. I was in that theater.
right here, this is what you get. You get predators talking to each other. That was horrible because it didn't actually translate to English. It's just, that's
the
all
whole
we get.
movie.
The whole
just
movie's
shows,
just
like alien language.
Oh, you kind of
no
have to
tra-
assume what they're saying to each other. But they're not speaking English here, right? It's just noises or something?
No, they're
Well-
talking in like predator language.
They
Yeah,
could do the
okay.
Avatar 2 thing where it starts off with them speaking their alien language, and then it just like morphs into English just for the sake of the film. You know, we take it as they're speaking their own language, but for the sake of the film, we can understand them. I don't know how they would do it, because they wouldn't do the whole thing subtitled. It would work for me,
No.
but that's not what they would do.
I don't know why
risky.
that should be changed into English. I don't know what they're fucking doing here with that, but
Maybe you just you self-translated it when you saw it the first time.
Self-translate,
You saw
yeah.
it as English.
I knew exactly what he was
You
saying.
learned the language. It's on Duolingo.
I'm big on the subtitles now these days, and so I think that would be more fitting, because like when a predator is talking in their own language, they're clicking and they're making crow sounds. I don't know if you've heard like a crow like that.
Those are two very different interpretations.
Combine both
You were
those
crow
noises,
noise.
you
like
got
the
a
boy in the
predator.
hair and level.
Okay, in between
yeah.
the two, yeah. Well, there's no way though they're gonna. Okay, Prey was a success. Let's go to the big screen with not a single word spoken in English and just subtitles the whole time. There's no way they do that.
No,
There's no way.
They
There's
don't.
absolutely no way. Maybe
When
they
they
release
speak-
like the Predator version, like they did that with Prey, right? They released the two versions.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Oh,
true.
yeah.
Like when
But
the
that's a
predator
streaming
does
movie. That's not a
that is a
theatrical
streaming movie.
release.
When the predator does speak English, it's much more like you have Arnold like, "What the hell are you?" and then the predator's like, "What are you?" Like,
Oh, okay.
talks
Kind of like a
much more.
parakeet or something.
something like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
What are you?
Like
What are
they
you?
repeat what people they repeat what people say.
Okay, like a baby. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. The
Baby
Predator 2,
parakeet.
there's a lot of that in the second Predator movie because like you have the kid I was talking about with the gun, and he's like, want some candy? And then the mom calls the kid away. And so when the Predator is dealing with our main like protagonist in the movie, the Predator is like, want some candy? Like
Sorry, did you
Predator
say the
says-
Predator won't kill someone if they have a weapon earlier?
He will, but it really depends on the situation. Like you have this female cop chasing a Predator, and she's got a gun. The Predator picks her up and sees that she's pregnant, so the Predator's like, okay, I'm gonna leave you. But then you have AVP where Waylon is like, don't turn your back on me, and fucking blasts him with fire, and the Predator just like ices him with his blade. So it's situational.
Interesting stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably depends on the clan. You know,
I'm
they
struggling to
probably have
understand
different
this
rules.
world of Predator, but maybe
Well,
some.
That's why
his
we need
origin
this movie.
Yeah.
It's true.
Go
Yeah.
over the tenets.
From his perspective, finally, we can see how he thinks.
Anything else on the Predator topic?
No, take me home.
No. Okay.
I hope it's a banger. I hope it's a banger.
I hope it's a
I hope it's
banger,
not
too.
bad. Lance.
I hope
Very
it's not
different
bad
range
either.
of the spectrum there.
Well, we're going to take our last ad break before we get into some trailers, so we'll be right back. And we are back. So, what who wants to take it away? We can just the classic like sound off on trailers.
Round off and
Sound
sound off. Can I round it and sound it with? I just got some questions about Sonic and what the hell is going on here. So I've not
Yeah.
seen either of these movies. I don't play these games. I don't know what the heck is going on. But I watched this trailer and I was so just shocked at everything I was seeing here. Talk to me about Eggman. Like, is Eggman in the first two movies? Is he trying to destroy the Earth? Because I was kind of surprised at the scale of this, where he's at the point now where he's looking to just blow up Earth. It seems like I thought he was just like a hooligan, who kind of like pranks people and stuff. But I guess I'm surprised to see him this strong. Is this what he's doing in the first two movies? What's going on?
I've seen both these movies. I'm having a hard time remembering exactly what his motivation is.
Seen
other
both these
than just,
movies,
like,
reviewed both these
getting-
movies.
I feel like he's just obsessed with like the power of like what Sonic is. So like he wants the rings. I can't even remember if the Chaos Emerald is in this property.
It was
yet.
in the second movie. That's when Knuckles came in.
Okay, there you go. And then there's Knuckles in there, which is just a fever
TV
dream
show?
to me. I do not remember that
Peak.
at all. Other than some bowling sequences and Robert Clegg.
Oh, I remember the bowling stuff. Yeah,
The
yeah,
Hound.
in the show,
the
right?
Hound being a big villain, yeah. I honestly forgot we even did a review of that, Taylor. That was definitely a few.
A great listen. So.
Great listen. Thanks for listening. But yeah, no, I definitely, especially like in the games, I kind of always saw him as almost like a Dr. Evil type villain, where he just like, I'm gonna destroy the world unless you give me all this money and like power and stuff like that. So I just kind of put him in that box of like that's kind of just who he is. He's just the guy that's trying to destroy the world. So yeah, but I can't really give you a nice solid. I mean, clearly I'm having a hard time remembering these other movies. I haven't seen them in a little bit now.
How about his brother? Eggman's got a brother in this. Is that canon? Is that always a thing? Is that new
that's
canon?
Grandfather.
I thought it was
I
his
thought it was
brother.
him.
No, I believe it's his grandfather, and I'm only saying that because and this is kind of like some backstory here, some lore. His grandfather was involved with Shadow the Hedgehog, and Shadow the Hedgehog was manufactured by some very dark energy that exists, and the government got afraid of that and wanted to then axe Shadow, but Shadow had befriended this young girl, which I believe was Eggman, like Grandpa Eggman's daughter, and she got killed. The government ended up killing her. That's why Shadow is such a villain. That's why you see in the trailer, Shadow is like befriending with this little girl, and then it flashes to the tank being like shattered or the glass being destroyed, and he's kind of upset and pissed. So technically, in the lore, the grandfather Eggman was supposed to have died, and I'm not 100% sure on the rest of it, but the baseline is, okay, Shadow had a relationship with this girl, and this girl was in some affiliation or relation with the Eggman family, or Robotnik family, and then she was killed. Shadow became bad, hated this, and so that's why he is so evil. If I had to pick, I feel like the Robotnik that we know, the young one, is not necessarily on the like destroy the world kind of a train. I think he's more like the conquer it, and I bet I'd be inclined to say you could see the two Eggmen kind of going against each other, and then maybe the Grandpa Eggman is the one who's trying to like destroy everything and ruin everything, and young Eggman doesn't really want that. But
Juicy. That was
God
a good
damn,
breakdown.
that's wild.
This guy's read all the novels.
yeah,
I feel like all my knowledge on the Shadow storyline is what I've gotten from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, because you kind of follow that story, and all of like the Shadow stuff is kind of through flashbacks, and like you see the sequences between him and the little girl, and definitely remember an older gentleman. So yeah, good memory there, Taylor, on it being Robotnik's grandfather. Like I couldn't remember what if it was his uncle or something, because Eggman like goes to that secret base, which I don't know. I won't say too much because I don't know how much is like pulled from the game for this story, spoiler wise. But yeah, no. I feel like it is a lot to unpack. Like Taylor just gave a good explanation, but I hope that's something that's really digestible when the movie comes out, because there's going to be many people that have no idea what's going on with this stuff. I mean, clearly, even I was lost. I thought that was just a clone of Eggman or something, but yeah.
well, let's not forget the legendary quote by Jim Carrey in 2022. You'd only act in another movie if it was, and I quote, a script that's written in gold ink. And here he is, Sonic 3, so they probably wrote it in gold ink and served it up to him. So there you go.
And he had to do it because of
Good
that
for
quote.
him.
Couldn't double back.
It's a Christmas miracle. There's a scene with Santa in this. What's going on there?
I have no
Is that the
fucking
actual
idea.
Santa? Is that like a flashback? Is that like a dream sequence? Is that just a funny little gag they put in there to get
I feel
people
like
to
in
go
this
for the
universe,
holidays?
Santa's like a real thing. I don't know like for sure. I'm just like that's my prediction.
Is
that it's
Eggman
just
like a human
Santa's-
from Earth in this world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. But I don't know why Grandpa Eggman is Santa. I can't figure that one out.
It's just yeah. Hopefully we get that explained. I personally really like this trailer. I feel like I've been digging all of these trailers just because Shadow's in it, and I'm just such a sucker for Shadow. I already mentioned Shadow or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I love that game and like following Shadow's storyline in that, and then of course I love the game Shadow the Hedgehog, which is kind of a very different storyline. I don't remember the little girl being in that movie in that game at all, but Shadow's just such a badass character. I feel like because I just love the character of Sonic, I just naturally fell in love with like the dark version of him. He was just a lot more emo, I guess, and just more powerful, especially seeing him pop off with the Chaos Emeralds, and in here seeing him showcase with the I don't know, the little orb thing that he had, which was like a black hole that he was popping off with. And I'm just really hoping that there's some good juicy clashing between him and Sonic. I think it's guaranteed to happen. And then I imagine how it goes is, he ends up being kind of not necessarily a good guy at the end, just like an anti-hero, because it's kind of what he is in the Sonic universe, and just kind of a neutral guy. So I imagine he'll be driving off on his motorcycle at the end. I don't think he'll die, just because he is a very popular character, and I imagine they'd want to really juice that lemon as much as they can. But yeah, no, overall, and Keanu, of course, Keanu's fantastic. So yeah, very much looking forward to this movie, actually.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm excited for this movie. I mean, you see Shadow with like his gun from the game too. That's pretty crazy. And there's a whole bunch of fun little things in here, and I can't wait to see just how it's gonna kind of cap off our story. Unless we get a Sonic 4, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see if any other characters actually appear in here too, on top of Shadow. I'd be stoked if we see some other familiar creatures coming in. So, yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Other trailers exist. I could not find this Mickey 17 trailer. I'm gonna be honest
Me
with you.
neither.
Me neither.
False. Okay. We're good.
So that
I
pretend that
didn't
never
rewatch the one
happened.
from 2 months ago.
Where are you guys at with Elio or Elio? This Pixar
Yeah.
picture.
I thought it looked cute. Like nothing that like just made my jaw drop. Like I think it will be a nice, cute adventure. I like the animation a lot. Reminded me of Luca, I think it is. Like
Okay.
the character design reminded me of it. And I really like Luca. I thought that was a really cute film. And I don't know, like Pixar's a pretty safe bet. I've liked pretty much all of their movies, so I assume this one will be a fun adventure. But yeah, it wasn't it didn't have that like special some je ne sais quoi about it where I'm like, oh
Yeah,
man, I
definitely.
have to see this right at theater release. I'll probably see this at home. But nonetheless, it looked cute. I'm excited to see just the different creatures and stuff that he interacts with.
It's weirdly feels like very small scale for Pixar. I feel like every Pixar trailer
Yeah.
is like all this crazy bombastic things and characters going into imaginary worlds with all sorts of wild stuff happening. And obviously gets sucked up by these aliens and he's hanging out with them. But I kind of feel like that's the extent of it so far. And like this being the second trailer, I was kind of expecting a bit more juice than the first one, but it kind of felt like a bit of a rehash of that first one. So I don't know. Maybe they'll start dishing out some more closer to its actual release because it's still quite a far way away. But yeah, it's not grabbing me for some reason. So I don't know what it is about it, but something's missing right now.
It really reminded me of Over the Moon. If you guys, I don't think you've seen that one. It's on Netflix. It's I don't know, just similar type of idea of like going into space and different creatures and stuff. But recommend it. It's really good.
Nice.
I'm actually really looking forward to this. I watched the trailer and I was actually really caught off guard and thought like this actually seems like a really cute movie where you have this kid who's just kind of feels out of place and then finally like aliens answer. It gave me like an ET phone home kind of vibe and I'm digging it. So this is something I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes and ears open for when it rolls around in June.
Mm-hmm.
How to Train Your Dragon. I really really like this trailer. Big fan of the series. How to Train Your Dragon's probably Shay's favorite movie of all time. She rewatches that movie so many times in a year. And this looks pretty much like dead comparison to the first film. Especially like even trailer wise. It's funny we even have like Gerard Butler back playing the character that he plays in the animated show. Like he does the voice of the king and like watching the animated show, it's like this animated character looks like Gerard Butler, so it's funny that he's back here for the live action film. And the little kid, I think he's gonna I say he's a little kid. He's a little bit older than a little kid. He's maybe just a kid. He's a young man, but
Old enough for the predator to kill him. If he wanted to.
Especially if he's carrying that axe. You know, the predator's gonna scan him and just put him out of his misery. But no, I think this actually looks really good. However, I will say, I feel like seeing this trailer, and the trailer looks really good. Toothless looks really, really good. I feel like all the shots look really good. I feel like at best, this movie just won't be as good as the original. And I kind of feel that for like all of these live action remakes. Obviously, for like a classic, like nostalgic remake, it's tough to recapture that magic and just top what the original would have had. But I feel like I'm going to see this, and it's going to be like a really good version, but I'll still probably like the animated version more. And I'd love to be, fooled by that and turned around. But I thought that with the last Avatar, like the Netflix series, like I thought the trailers looked really great, and like the show was good, but it's just nowhere near the levels of what the original is because you're just able to spend so much more time. That's different because it's a TV show versus a movie, so maybe this one will be that much better. But I mean, it's tough to really say. For me personally, like negative things about this trailer. Like everything looks good. The dragons look really good. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this, and this will probably be a nice early movie theater watch for Shay and I. We saw the last one in theaters together, so yeah.
Is
very
she
much looking forward
excited
to it.
for this live action
Yeah.
remake?
She really is. She really liked all the shots of it.
Nice.
Really liked the casting and everything. So yeah, she's as a big How to Train Your Dragon fan, she's super
That's good. I
positive
feel
on
like that's the best praise you
Yeah.
can get. Yeah.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, I am ecstatic for this. Seeing the trailer, it felt like there was just so much passion that was really invested into this, and I really really like that. And it's funny to think how went through this time when books were the spotlight to be adapted into films, and now it's like, oh, are we hitting the thing where animated films are now being adapted into live action? I mean, we're getting that with Frozen, we're getting it with Moana, and so all these other films too. So it's just kind of funny to be seeing how things are going. But it looks great. It really, really looks great, and I can't wait. And I'm assuming while this movie could stand on its own as a standalone, I'm assuming we were going to get a trilogy of live action films for this because, I mean, there are 3 How to Train Your Dragon movies, right?
Yeah, we'll see how it does financially, I guess.
It's all about that money.
Mm-hmm. What do we got next for trailers? We got Dexter: Original Sin. How do you feel?
I I was kind of I felt weird watching this trailer. I'm not gonna lie. It just
Same.
it feels I don't want to say fan made or something, but it just feels like some sort
I'll
of
say it feels fan made.
yeah, okay. It feels fan made. It feels like someone made a recreation of like their version of Dexter as like a fun trailer. And then you have like Michael C. Hall's voice in there as like a narrator at parts, which just feels like which is taken from the original Dexter show. And watching this trailer, it didn't really make me want to watch this. It just made me want to rewatch Dexter. Like it was reminding me of like
Yeah.
early seasons of Dexter, and I don't know. Like I don't want to shit talk all the casting or whatnot, but it's just like, man, like I've seen this already, like with Michael C. Hall. So I don't think this trailer was a good trailer, like selling me on the show, because I don't know. It just seems like it's in the exact same era of like when Dexter was going on, like and especially like from the first season. So I know it's a little bit earlier than that, but like Christian Slater, we've already talked about, like he's in this show, like he's older than like the original Harry was at the time of that show. I don't think he really looks like he's older, but you know he's a little bit less wrinkly than.
It's
the
hard to
other
see
chap,
him
but,
as Harry though.
Yeah, no, I agree. He
Like a
feels
lot of the other
different
casting,
character.
they pick people that's like, okay, I can believe this, but
Yeah.
that one,
Batista,
just like a
you
new
know,
guy.
he looks like a young Batista for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a weird trailer to watch because it really just didn't sell me on the show. It mostly just sold me on wanting to rewatch Dexter, and I don't know. Hopefully, like I can't. Oh my gosh, what's the actress's name? The blonde lady, like the new character that's in there. I guess that's like the one thing that stood out, which seemed different from what the original was. But for the most part, it just kind of seems like the same show again. And I don't know. I like Dexter enough, but yeah, for a trailer, not really selling me on it.
Sarah
Yeah.
Michelle Gellar? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah,
Like Dexter's mentor, kind of that character?
maybe not. Hold on, let me.
She was like the
Let me
blood
confirm.
forensics lady, I think, and she was like showing like Dexter, like, oh, the splatter and stuff like that.
Splatter matters.
Yeah,
Spider
yeah,
Matters.
Daphne from Scooby Doo, or not Daphne? Yeah, no, Daphne.
Big crossover.
That would be a fitting-ish crossover. Yeah, I echo everything that Kirkland says. It just feels, my skin crawls a little bit watching this. It just feels uncanny. I don't like it. And then the one thing that really threw me off, and maybe it was just one line, one delivery, one weird edit, but it's like when the detective guy, you like pointing up to the board, and he says, "Starting to look like a serial killer art project up in here," and just like the way that line was delivered was so cheesy and silly. I'm like, what is that going to be the tone of this show? It's going to be like a goofy, silly Dexter thing, and like the music too, like kind of backs that up. Like we see Dexter with long hair again, but it's like it's slightly different long hair than before, which is hilarious to see, given how much the four of us meme about that particular thing.
Yeah.
But it's just odd, and just I don't like it. Yeah, I don't know where
Yeah,
it went. He
the
disappeared.
detective. I thought it would be the image.
They scrubbed it
the-
from the internet. The old
Yeah.
picture.
The detective, when he's pointing, like that scene that you mentioned that was just really cheesy, it actually reminded me of Michael Keaton's like cop character from The Other Guys, which is again like a very comedic role, and not really what I would be wanting for this type of show. I think Dexter has
Yes.
its moments of being kind of comedic, but that's definitely not the main. Like it is still a very serious show for the most part.
So, yeah, I've been apprehensive about this, but to be honest, this trailer made me kind of want to start actually watching the show.
Like the
I
old
feel
show?
like no, this new
Oh,
one.
this
A
one.
part of me
Okay, it's the old
feels like this is gonna be a show that maybe I'm thinking too much of like Penguin, but I feel like okay, this show is gonna come out and I'm gonna watch it and I'm thinking, oh man, this is actually a lot better than I thought. And I think there's gonna be just with the narrations of Dexter and everything like that, it's just gonna really kind of pull me in a little bit. So I'm apprehensive, and I think I need to see like the first or second episode and really get my feelers in there for what this show is going to be like. I think the way that this trailer started off, and Travis was raving about it in the Discord. Go check out our Discords. But he was talking about how he knew this is going to segue into that Resurrection series that they've announced as well, where, okay, Dexter lives. And that's how the trailer starts, where he's in the snow and they get him to the hospital. They're trying to bring him back. And it's like, oh, your life flashes before your eyes. And so we get this young Dexter Original Sin show. So there just seems like there's a lot of things in here. And even that young Masuka where he laughed, I thought, oh my God, that Masuka he's a character that really just cracks me up in the original show. So seeing him here is just, that's something else. And yeah, young Batista and LaGuerta, like all these different like characters that are like young and they're starting off in these different narratives for their
Dokes,
characters. Like, what's that?
No Dokes, eh? Is Dokes in
No
there? I
Dokes.
can't remember.
I didn't remember seeing him in the trailer, but I bet
I
you.
thought he's in
he
there,
could
wasn't he?
come. Was he? I can't remember.
I feel like he's just he's like a powerful presence on screen, and I didn't feel that through the
I
trailer.
feel like it was
so-
just Dokes, but the actor's like not as big.
Intense.
Like I think he was wearing glasses or something at that one quick scene. Actually,
'Cause
yeah.
before he
I
got all
think you're
jacked,
right.
he's like a little nerdy IT guy. In this.
Surprise,
Yeah.
motherfucker!
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm definitely getting excited. I'm apprehensive, but I'm excited.
I wish I could be there with the optimism. I like that, but
Yeah, I'm not there.
Well, I think that does it. Unless there's anything else you guys have, you want to slide in there, but I think we can close this episode out.
no, I'm ready to slither out of here.
Yeah,
Cool,
let's slither
okay.
on out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into this episode of GeekVerse Podcast. We'll be back sometime next week with some other fancy new content. So, yeah, stay tuned to the feeds, and yeah, we'll see you in the search bar.
Bye-bye.
Bye.